we spent the past couple of years in a crazy hot market. Louisville home sales decline as demand outpaces supply. Effective communication is at the core of any situation. If you master these two ideas, you'll have a chance of being successful at residential real estate marketing. I think you need to be looking for investment opportunities that move the needle. The market will never crash if demand exceeds supply. This is what I've been telling you all along.
This is the Jay Pitts Show. And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show. I'm your host, Jay Pitts. Hope you're doing well. Ryan Harris.
I remember the stopwatch on my phone this time.
Okay.
Last time we just forgot to turn it on and we went 55 minutes.
Hey, it is.
I kind of liked having the no time on there.
Like just feeling it.
Yeah.
Just feeling it. You know, I don't. My mic arm is doing something weird today. I feel like it's not usually right here, but hey, maybe it is. Maybe I'm just.
It looks normal to me.
Looks normal to you. Okay. Well, all good.
So
what's going on?
I guess we'll mention we're recording this on 9/11.
Yeah. So, what are we? 23 years removed.
Yep.
23 years removed. Crazy day. Do you remember where you were?
I was either in kindergarten or first grade.
Okay.
So don't remember much.
So
don't remember much about it, to be honest. I know my parents were at Bub's Cafe in E-Town, and they watched it on TV there.
They had it on Did Bub's have a TV, or did they?
I guess so.
Did they wheel one out? Yeah. Because that was like, I'm going to tell you this. So I remember where I was. I was a sophomore in college. So there's the difference in our ages.
Wow.
I was a sophomore in college. I was rehabbing a knee injury. I had knee surgery in the summer after my freshman season at Bellarmine. And I was living in the dorms at Anniversary Hall. And I got up that morning, foggy brain, college kid, probably 8 a.m. in the morning, driving out to Preston Highway to physical therapy to do rehab. And at some point, I don't remember exactly the time when the first plane hit, but I think I had arrived at PT and had gotten started. And then I remember them coming in the room, or someone coming in the room and kind of saying what had happened. And I'm like literally like got a band around my calf muscles, and I'm walking backwards on a treadmill. Like, you know what I mean? Like when this happened, I don't know what that does, but that's apparently something that you do. And I was like, wait, what? What just happened? And physical therapy offices is at 8:30 in the morning are full of like really old people, I guess, or at least that's what it was that day.
Well, I think that's just most physical therapy.
Probably true. Probably true. I can concur from my most recent PT stint after another knee surgery. Oddly enough, the same procedure, just like 20 years later, on the other knee. I was the only one that resembled an athlete in the physical therapy office this time. So people were looking at me like, what is he doing? I'm over there doing squats and like, grunting out, reverse lunges with like 40-pound dumbbells. Anyway, so I was on the treadmill and I was like, wait, what? And then they literally wheeled a cart, like from like elementary school, like a cart with a tube TV in, and turned it on. And I was on that treadmill watching I watched the second plane hit the tower on the treadmill in that office. I pretty much I don't even think really after that finished my workout, and I got back in my car and I drove back to Bellarmine's campus. And, if you live here in Louisville, Preston Highway is one of the busier roads in the city. I mean, it's like Bardstown Road. It's like, Hurstbourne Parkway. It's busy. And I remember there's almost not a soul on the road. And I took Preston Highway, north towards town and jumped on the Watterson to head back over to Bellarmine. And there was nobody on the Watterson. And it was the most eerie feeling. I remember the sky is actually a lot like it is today. It was crazy sunny. The sky was a million miles high, high sky, no clouds. And one of those quiet days. You're just outside and it's just quiet. And it was so eerie and odd. And it was a little cool. And I walked back into my dorm room and my roommates are sitting there watching it. Bellarmine pretty quickly canceled classes the rest of the day, and we literally sat there and watched coverage. Like, we thought we were getting invaded.
Yeah.
Like there was another shoe to drop. And, of course we heard about the other planes, the one at the Pentagon, and then the one that fell in Pennsylvania that was, kind of, I guess the guys, was that Flight 93? There were, some law enforcement, like, just happened to be on the plane that took control, and they, diverted course and whatnot. But, yeah, we didn't know. We didn't know what was going on. A lot of crazy talk. I remember the gas station, you'll know this, being a Bellarmine student, the BP station right there on Newburgh Road,
Yep.
marked their gas up to $7 a gallon, like within hours of that. Because I had a roommate that ran out for gas, I guess. I don't know, because there was a lot of crazy talk. Like, oh, there's going to be gas shortages, a lot of crazy, again, a lot of untrue things being said. Obviously it was, Muslim terrorists that was pretty obvious. And we get oil from the Middle East. Is that going to restrict gas supply and whatever? But yeah, they marked gas up to like $7 a gallon for like a couple of hours.
I can only imagine if that happened today.
And then
stories would
it'd be everywhere. It'd be all over social media. I mean, social media barely existed then. I mean, I don't even think I had a single account. I guess Facebook was a little later, so maybe, I don't know, maybe MySpace existed. I didn't even have one of those. I don't even know if it did exist. But yeah, pretty crazy, man. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, I feel like everybody has one documentary they usually watch on 9/11, and mine is the Red Bandana.
Okay, I haven't seen that one, so I might.
That's the Boston College lacrosse player that kept running back in and saved like 18 people.
Wow.
He ended up passing though, but yeah, he just kept running back in and saving people.
Yeah, I see a lot of. I've seen a lot of stories shared over the last few days of people with personal accounts, people that had family members, even extended family that were working in the trade, in downtown Manhattan or even in the trade centers.
Yeah. So
wild.
Sad. Important to remember that though.
Absolutely.
That's why we're bringing it up.
No, absolutely.
All right, let's get into the show. Let's see here. You got any just small stories from the week you want to share?
No, we've been trying not to get too deep, and this may be our contribution for the week. We've been trying not to get too deep, or at least allow the NAR settlement to dominate our shows of late. We went pretty hot and heavy on that, as needed in the beginning and through implementation, and we've kind of, wanted a return to normalcy a little, if you will, because, as it turns out, and as I was just talking with a potential recruit in a meeting just prior to this, I have been through like multiple, like potentially career altering events in my time in this industry. I joined the industry full time in January of 2008, like just ahead of the worst real estate market that we've seen in the last 100 years. I started my mortgage company, the month that rates started going up in 2022, and then they would eventually double within 3 months. NAR settlement is another example of that. Lots of crazy things. But like those, the NAR settlement is not going to end us.
No.
It's going to be a shift. And if you're agile enough to shift, then you're going to come out ahead. I was telling Marcy this morning, Marcy, director of ops for our team, all things considered, right? Playing field being level, no insurmountable, external influence, right? That I have zero control over. In the absence of that, I take my chances against anyone else, right? As long as everyone has the same rules, I'm going to win. That's the way I feel. And maybe I'm cocky, and maybe that's what makes me successful. So this is no different. One thing that I will say, and it can be our contribution for this episode, what I've started to see already is from clients the desire, or maybe not desire, I won't go there, the willingness, the willingness to seek outcomes that involve no accountability.
Yeah.
Okay. Clients will sign a form saying that they agree to exclusively work with you. They have vetted you. You have put your best foot forward. You have explained your value. They do not refute the value that you provide, but they still decide after signing and making an agreement, a contractual agreement with you, being explained expressly and properly. This is an exclusive agreement. They just don't want to be held to it. They don't want to be held to it. And they've made threats to slander, okay, to ruin reputation, right, to be untruthful, okay, in their account of working with you for the public if you don't allow them out of the contract. It's really unfortunate, man.
Is that blackmail?
I mean, maybe. I
Like
don't think it's
blackmail to me.
I don't think it's blackmail, because I think blackmail means you actually did the thing that they accuse you of, and they're just threatening to tell someone about it. Okay, I think it's extortion is what I think it is, right? I think it's if you don't, I will, and it doesn't purport truth, right? I mean, blackmail would mean I did the
Extortion's also illegal.
Exactly. So here's the thing, we signed a non-disparagement, non-disclosure agreement with one potential client that made enough of a stink and threats that I ultimately determined that we did not want to be affiliated with this individual, regardless of what money it may earn our company.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, but you're not going to lie about me. I'm not going to allow you to do that. So since you've made threats, my new requirement now, and conversely, I let a guy out of a contract last night that just simply asked, and he didn't make threats. I didn't make him sign anything additional. But this person that made threats, I made sign a non-disclosure, non-disparagement agreement. And if they violate that agreement, then I will pursue the remedies that I have. And it's just really unfortunate. Okay. And I know this might get clipped and put out on Instagram, and people are saying realtors aren't worth what they're paid. I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm worth it. I'm worth what I charge you. Okay. I will charge you no more, and I will charge you no less than what I'm worth. Okay. I will follow through with my claims, guarantees, and warranties. I will. I'll do my job, and I will get you the results you want if it's able to be gotten. Okay. But some people, they want something for free. Apparently that's the situation with a lot of people. It's fine. It's all good. I can tell you this, our competition will not excel the way that we do behind these changes.
Yep. Cool.
So,
you were just talking, you just had a recruiting meeting. It's a perfect lead into this first listener question we have. And they said, how quick can you tell when an agent who joins your team isn't going to be successful?
That's a great question.
Month,
there's
2
no
months?
there's no standard. Really, I've had agents that. So I was talking about this agent this morning with a member of the staff. An agent that was with me 6 months was not active enough, didn't do enough, shiftless, just didn't put in the work. And I sat this person down and I said, if you don't shape up, you're going to get fired. And this person, and this is exactly the words I used when talking to the staff member this morning, this person looked at me and said, yes, coach, I'll do better. He didn't say that. That was how I took his response.
Yeah.
I was the coach. He was the player. He is an athlete. He does have that in his background. And it was like when the coach tells you to get your act together and you know it and you own it. He did. And he got better, right? He's been twice as good since then.
Everybody knows it deep down in their brain and heart.
But
if they aren't doing enough.
But a lot of people won't accept it, at least not publicly.
Yeah.
They'd rather save face and fail, right, than take ownership and succeed.
Yeah.
And that is something that is that's a winner's mentality. Okay? Even winners lose from time to time. Okay? This person lost for 6 months, but they're a winner deep down. And they stepped up, they took the hard talk, they took it right on the chin, and they shaped up and got better. Now, there's other agents that I know on day one that they're going to be successful.
Yeah.
There's other agents that I know on day one that they're not going to be successful. I try to keep an open mind, right? Because that change, that flip, or that switch can flip at any time.
Yep. I feel like sometimes for certain agents, especially brand new ones, it's hard for them to go out and attack if they don't understand the contracts and what they're doing. So maybe it takes them a few deals to get under their belt.
It's a bit generational too, Ryan. If I'm being honest, the older generations, in my opinion, were more likely to be able to do without knowing.
Yeah.
They were more willing to act without all the information. What you have to realize is this business has so many permutations of every situation. You can't possibly. I've been doing it forever. I've done more than anybody else I know in terms of deal processing, problem solving. I mean, it's what I do for a living. It's what I do most for this company is solve problems for people. And, you know, I was a loan officer doing hundreds of loans a year before I was a real estate agent. I did tons of small price transactions early in my career, complex like issues and all different shapes and sorts, right? And I've run a massive team for a number of years that does hundreds of transactions a year. On top of that, I coach the other 90 or the other 70 plus agents in this company through all their problems. That's what I do. I solve problems and I learn new things every day. Yep. Every single day I learn new things. And so you're never going to know it all. And some of the younger generation seems to want to know it all before they act. And that's a tough spot to be in. So like you're literally asking somebody, "Hey, you see that wall over there? We don't know what it's made of yet, but you got to run through it to find out."
Hey, those older generations might have more bills, kids though.
They might.
Forces them. But yeah, I came to in this this career, there's always new things, new problems that arise, and I came to Jay with one last week. And
it was a different one.
We'll get into details about it, and what we thought's going to happen is going to happen.
There
just
you go.
so you know.
There you go. Well, that's a relief.
Whenever Jay hears your problem and rolls his eyes and leans back in his chair with his hands on his head, usually not the best sign.
I don't know if it was an eye roll. It was like a look up at the sky.
Yeah, it wasn't an eye roll.
I wasn't like angry or upset. I was
more
like,
of a, how the F did this happen?
It was kind of like that.
Yeah.
Hannah, you got to clip that. I don't know. Maybe not the most flattering look. But yeah, I definitely leaned back, hands on head, and looked at the ceiling and deep exhale. So yeah, it's interesting.
It was one of those things too that I got a call about, and it's one of those that kind of shakes your core a little.
Didn't you leave the office and get that call and turn around and come back?
No.
Okay, I thought. Well, you were gone for a second, or maybe you were just at the table.
I walk outside to talk on the phone most of the time.
Well then that's what it was. Because in my mind, I thought, oh, Ryan left. I mean, he sits and works outside.
I might have
office
left
sometimes.
and then came back and worked.
I don't know. But anyway, my perception was that you left and then like the call made you come back.
No,
it was like, okay, I know Jay's in the office. This one needs to be had in person.
Yeah. And it's one of those where it just shakes your core a little bit, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, okay, it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to get solved.
Well, it's that pit of your stomach feeling where you know you're involved. Okay, and we're being a bit cryptic, but like, and again, like Ryan said, we're not going to get into details. But the scenario is of this kind of.
We'll get into the details once it's all solved.
Here's the type of problem it was. It was a problem that Ryan didn't create, but had he done something that he wasn't really responsible for doing, but does sometimes in the process of selling this house, he would have uncovered the issue and the problem would have been fixed before it became a problem.
Yeah.
But he didn't for whatever reason, and it did not prevent the result that you were trying to get. You gave great representation to your client. You just didn't happen to discover the problem before it became a problem. And therefore, he's not responsible. And it was a very simple, direct fix as long as all parties are agreeable, and it sounds like it is.
Yeah. So it's getting solved. Don't know if it's going to take a week or 2 weeks, but Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
So
I will say one more thing on the original question. And I do share this very willingly with new agents. It is infinitely more likely that a new agent is successful if within the first probably 2 months of them being in the business, they spend multiple days a week in the office.
yes.
If they spend 3 to 4 hours a day, multiple days a week, being exposed to everything in this office and how it gets done and what it's doing, the context just is so much better for everything that comes after it. So to answer your question most directly, I know after about 2 months whether they've been around or not.
Yeah.
And if they're not around and they're not just very special, which aptitude is absolutely a thing. Some people just have an aptitude for this business. And those people are going to be successful no matter what, you know? But those that have a moderate aptitude, and it could go either way, the context they get from being in the office multiple hours a day, multiple days a week for the first few months of being in the business, it really, really increases their likelihood of success.
I mean, you still see the most successful agents here are in the office consistently. And for people on your team, they have the Monday morning team meeting they can come to.
That's right.
Wednesday tactical, which isn't every week, but I'd say it's probably every other week.
It's every other week.
And then
Friday
the
round
Friday
table.
round table, which is every week.
Every week. So every week you have at least 2 opportunities to start and finish your week in the office. And every other week you have a third opportunity. If you are not on my team, well, there's small group meetings, there's other things going on that give you, a reason to be in the office.
Yeah. Do you know at the Friday round tables, depending on who's bringing up an issue, if it's going to be worthwhile or not?
The round table itself, is it valuable?
Yeah. Well, like who's bringing up their issue?
Well, there are the usual suspects.
Because some of them aren't even like that big of issues.
Yeah. But, I mean, honestly, we take the good with the bad because, every question or every issue that gets brought up or every question that gets asked in roundtable, typically it's in the mind of someone else in that room. They're just being silent about it. So whether it's an easy solution or not is really irrelevant to me. I like solving easy problems just as well. If it's an easy problem, I don't like belaboring easy problems. And there are those individuals that when they bring up a question, no matter what, it's going to be a 20-minute conversation. Yeah. If it's complex, that's one thing. Okay. And if it's complex and worthwhile, we take as long as it takes. Yeah. We have been known to talk an entire 1 hour Friday roundtable on one issue, and that's fine when it's necessary. But I kind of MC the thing, so if it gets off topic, I reel it back in.
Yeah, I know I've brought some things up lately that I don't even know if they're worthwhile, but I know one was okay. If I'm showing this first time home buyer a bunch of homes. Yeah. And their parents are coming, which is completely fine and normal.
Yeah.
Do I need them to sign an exclusive buyer agency agreement?
No, because you don't have to have someone that you don't represent sign any type of form. Yeah. The risk you run is that they are actually the buyer or end up being the buyer, and that's a sleazy way to get out of a contract is by having mom and dad buy the house when you didn't have them sign a form. So to protect yourself, you should probably make an overture at having everyone present sign in the event that the parents become the buyer. Yeah. Now, most honest people, okay, even if they didn't sign the form, would understand that the house is for little Janie or little Johnny, and little Janie or little Johnny signed a contract saying they would pay you, so mom and dad shouldn't use that as a technicality to get out. And, and most honorable individuals would know that. Yeah.
But I'll tell you another one I thought of.
But there's going to be a lot of people out there that do what I said earlier and try to beat you out of your commission just because they can.
Yeah, and the exclusive buyer agency agreement is you're the one who signs it.
Yeah,
that's right. So, and what I was thinking of this weekend, I had someone on my team show a house to clients of mine. I was like, does he need to get this form signed? And then I read through it and figured it all out. So it's just, I mean, as days go on, there's just common things you do in this business that you're going to have questions about now because of these new rule changes.
Right.
But
All good.
All right. So we just talked about how quick can you tell if an agent's going to be successful.
Yep.
Now, what to you is success as a real estate agent?
Great question.
Thank you.
I don't think you're going to love my answer because it's not specific. And then I guess maybe I can change the question slightly.
I think I know what it's going to be.
Specific. Well, it depends on what that agent wants.
Yeah.
Now, I have a threshold of what is successful. I typically say productive is the word. What is productive for me from a business standpoint? I have to have a certain amount of revenue generated to justify having an agent on the team. So I'm not going to talk about what that is, but it's low. Let's say that it's low purposely. A lot of business owners would probably not agree with me because it's not incredibly profitable. My minimum threshold. Part of that is because we're incredibly efficient in the way we run the team, and we can afford to bring agents on to the team at a relatively low cost to us, and so they don't have to sell very much to make it a worthwhile endeavor. If you're a good person, okay, and I like having you around, and you don't bring others down, and you don't cause me an unnecessary risk, then I'm okay with not making very much money, even for the responsibility that you require of me. And I will not retain a pain in the ass, or a toxic personality just because they are an incredible earner for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I am incredibly forgiving, and I absolutely at my core want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I'd rather, a business philosophy I have is that I would rather be the type of person that gets taken advantage of once in a while than be the person that doesn't trust anyone. Right? So when I meet with a recruit, which I should say I don't actively recruit, recruits call me.
Yep.
It's all inbound. Okay. We don't do any activities to generate leads for recruits. They all come to me. When I meet them, I'm trying to answer several questions. I'm trying to answer, are they a self-starter? Because I believe that's necessary to be successful. Are they a problem solver? Again, necessary for success. Are they well-connected, or do they at least desire to be? Required for success. One of the two. And are they a culture fit? And if I can't answer yes to all those questions, you're not getting an opportunity. Okay? And culture fit is last because it is absolutely disqualifying. It's like the same reason we talk about price last in a listing appointment, because it overrides everything. Because I can't risk upsetting what I have already built and worked this hard for this many years. I can't risk it for one person.
Right.
And so what is successful? Successful is, you make enough to justify me keeping you on the team. Successful is you add or enhance the culture, or at least don't detract from it. And there's a reasonable assurance that things could get better. Okay. For me, because of your involvement. And you don't cause me unnecessary risk and problem. For an agent, I think success looks like living the life you want to live through real estate.
That's exactly what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. Like, well, and Ryan, let's just look at it like this. When you were involved with Simba, real estate was a very different thing for you then than it is now.
Sure.
So real estate afforded you the opportunity to make substantial income in short periods of time while you spent all your time and energy on something else.
Yeah, I'm officially a full year back from being done with Simba and agent.
It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, and the reason I know that is I had to renew all my PVA.
There you go.
I got on there and logged in one day and I had no access to anything else. What the heck?
Yeah,
it's been a year already.
It's funny how those things happen. Mine is the Remax bill, the annual Remax bill. That's when I'm reminded.
Yeah.
But no, like we have full-time teachers that are essentially full-time real estate agents too, that sell 20 homes a year and teach school. We have, people that
I did not know that.
run. We have. I'm not even talking about me. Outside of me, we have people that run teams with more than 10 people on them. Right. That's a very different scenario and situation. We have near retirement age agents that are twilight of their career. I mean, real estate, the great thing about it is that it can be what you want it to be, what you need it to be. Yeah. Right? It doesn't have to fit in a box.
I did a deal recently with an agent, and she was very good. And she's a full-time nurse. I think she's been an agent for about 3 years. Doing pretty well as an agent too. I just told her, I said, you're literally working the two most stressful jobs that exist. And I know from my wife being a nurse how stressful that is, and dealing with people all day that, quite frankly, think a hospital is a hotel. And then you're going to go be a real estate agent as well. Oof. That is brutal. And I don't know.
Hospitals in
I don't know
general
if she listens to this podcast or not, but I mean, I just told her, say, you're a good agent and you're working the two most stressful jobs that exist.
Well, maybe it's just like being a nurse and enduring that stress is what prepared her for being a real estate agent. Maybe it doesn't seem so hard.
I tried to convince her. I said, hey, you need to cut the nurse thing out. Let's just
let's just be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
No,
I could not imagine.
I find the stress. Tell me if you agree with this. And I won't get off on a tangent, but very directly, I think being a real estate agent is stressful because you are put in a situation where you not just need to, but you somehow want to, innately want to absorb other people's stress. You have to I had to actively remind myself not to own my client's stress.
Yeah.
These people are freaked out and nervous and neurotic and they're great, normal people, but the process makes you like that. And I just found myself being anxious all the time in the beginning. And I was like, God, dude, this is not you.
Yeah. You definitely grow out of it.
You do grow out of it for sure. But that's what new agents go through.
Yeah.
Is they own it. I say you're like a sponge. You suck up all that anxiety. And then eventually you just wring it back out. And that's the closing table. You wring it all out and then you're back.
I think a lot of times for new agents, that closing, when you get to the closing, it almost feels like that feeling of you just finished a test you've been stressing out about for forever. Except with the test, all you're waiting to get back is the score.
Yeah.
There can still be plenty of problems arise after a closing.
This is true.
So
you can find out that the teacher, 3 months after the grade's already recorded, that the teacher decided to change their answer on, section B.
Yeah.
And now your grade just dropped 10 points.
Yeah.
No, I get it. It's wild.
Cool. Okay. I thought we'd talk about this since a lot of real estate agents listen to this podcast and we all use phones all the time. The new iPhone 16's coming out
with AI.
Did
you watch the keynote?
No.
I used to watch those. I mean, nothing.
I didn't even know the keynote was coming out this time. I feel like it was kind of under wraps.
Was it WWDC? Is that the Worldwide Developers Conference? Isn't that when they always preview stuff?
Yeah.
I was big into this at one point, and now I'm just meh.
So we've talked about this before, but the pricing for the future and how Apple's done that with the iPhone. So the first iPhone came out in 2007. So 17 years ago.
I got the first one.
And the first iPhone entry price cost was $500.
Yeah.
The entry price for the iPhone 16 is $800. So it's not substantially more.
The difference is the cost was that $500 cost was subsidized by the provider at the time. So no one actually paid $500. Yeah. And it was that way for quite some time. And now what they've essentially done is required this financing model where, you never actually, and if you ever read it and figure it out, it's like leasing a car. You would never agree to this. It's the most egregious financial arrangement you make, but everybody now needs a phone all the time. And I rely on mine so much that every time a new one comes out, basically I get a new one or at least every other one, because it is the chief mechanism that I use for earning.
I get
It's a business
iPhone way
expense.
too much.
It's easily every 2 years. I think I've gotten the last 2 models. I've upgraded when
I have the 15.
I have a 15 Pro
but
Max.
I'll probably get the 16.
Well, I'm curious. Like the AI feature is intriguing to me.
I always
with
get the
Apple.
most expensive one now too.
I do too. Well, I've got like 25,000
storage,
photos, and I always want the max amount of storage. In fact, Jen got me the one less last time, and I ended up having to go back and get the bigger one, and it was after the time that I could return it. So it's like the phone we use to like film this stuff now.
Yeah.
And it's like a 15 Pro because it had 256 and not 512 because I have so much photos and videos of the kids and real estate that I can't.
Essentially, the only difference though between the 16 and 15, yes, it has AI. But I think that might come from more of an iOS.
I think you're going to get it anyway. Like Apple would be dumb to only offer it to 16. It's clearly a software thing, not a hardware.
Of course, the camera's better. They do that in
every
iPhone.
single time.
Essentially, it looks the exact same as what they've said. The camera's better and the chip is significantly faster.
Which I don't have issues. I don't have issues with processors, so I probably won't get it.
Yeah.
As long as you can get the AI feature, which I pay for now. ChatGPT, I haven't used it much, but you all shamed me at the Resource Live event for not paying for ChatGPT, so I signed up and got a paid account.
I'll probably cancel that soon. I'm not using it.
You pay for so many things that you don't use. It's crazy. You're still using your YouTube subscription?
Oh yeah. That's
that one's
the most worthwhile thing I pay for.
Gotcha.
Especially for my son. Miss Rachel comes on, no ads. He cannot be disturbed when Miss Rachel's on. They also made some announcements about their Apple Watch. So you still wear an Apple Watch. I wear a Garmin.
Yeah.
More so for my running, and I love the battery life on it. So the Garmin I have, if I don't run with it, the battery life's 28 days, which is sick.
Yeah.
And
how fast does it charge once you?
It takes a couple hours.
Like
I charged it up. Yeah, it's at 100% right now. I've had it on for 2 days.
Yeah. The thing I don't like, so I've got the I forget what it's called, the nice Apple Watch, whatever the nicest one is,
the bigger one,
the Ultra.
Yeah.
I've got the Apple Watch Ultra, and it's bigger, and I've got I have big wrists, so like even the other one looks tiny on my wrist anyway. But this has like some sort of progressive battery deal. It never charges to full, and it annoys me. And after a really busy day, I can run this all the way out.
Well, so their new one, they're so happy about it. It's an 18-hour battery life, which to me sounds awful.
Well, it hasn't been. This one has not been as advertised. I think this one said it, has, something crazy, but 18 hours in constant use, or I feel like that. I don't know. I have to look. I have to look into
18-hour battery life. It's also going to have a sleep apnea detector.
I don't sleep in mine.
I sleep in my Garmin every night.
I don't sleep in it.
And
I charge it every day.
Sometimes I love seeing my sleep score. Sometimes I don't.
Well, I get a sleep score, but it's like just the listening app, which is probably not very accurate. I mean, I think it's generally accurate. It's not. It can be hacked. It can be.
And then the AirPods Pro is going to have a hearing test. And apparently it's going to be a hearing aid. So that's kind of cool.
I mean, I kind of thought that was the case. I mean, you see a lot of like non-medical grade hearing like devices out. And with the ability to go from like, I don't remember the modes, but like noise canceling, I think they call it pass through. I guess I could probably look into it. But like, I always thought that why wouldn't they make it, if it's taking in sound, then they should make it to where it can amplify the sound.
Yeah. I'm here to tell you, though, if you're listening to this and you have an Apple Watch and hate it, get a Garmin. You'll never regret it. I'm the biggest Garmin supporter. You can get texts, you can get calls. You can't respond to texts and calls on your watch, but do you really ever do that anyways?
I don't. Every once in a while, I'll do an automated response if my phone's in my pocket and it's like I'm in the middle of a conversation and somebody's buzzing and I'm like, call you back in a sec.
Yeah.
But that's rare. And honestly, I think we could probably go to the tape, right? You and I had this discussion on air.
This was when we were on radio.
When we were on the radio. And I was looking at getting. I got this last Black Friday.
Listen to me.
I got it last Black Friday. Well, I talked to another friend that runs a lot. I don't run anymore. I used to. I don't run anymore. But I had you in my ear about the Garmin, and then another guy. I was like, okay, well, I'm curious to know his opinion. Very serious runner, crazy serious runner. And I asked him, and I noticed he wore an Apple Watch Ultra, and I thought, well, it's obviously decent if it is, if it meets his standards. Because I mean, this guy is like Boston Marathon.
Yeah, that's not me.
Like he's up in the front of the Mini, like with his hand on the watch when the horn goes off. Like he's up there with the guys that fly in to like win the race.
I guess I just know myself too and know I would not charge my watch every night.
Well, and that's the thing. I do, and it's nothing. I have a 3-in-1 charger that sits bedside. I charge my AirPods, my Apple Watch, and my iPhone every night. Yeah, the exact same way. And I kind of wish I could sleep in my watch. I had a hard time, even though the last version I had was waterproof. I never would get in the water with it because it just felt weird. I do swim in this, and it is nice not to have to take it off to get in the pool or to get in the shower. But it's it's just all in your habits, Ryan. It's all in your habits.
For sure.
I might have to look into the Garmin next time though, because this has not been as exciting to me.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. So I have not checked the stocks today, but right before we started recording this, inflation report came out, and it reportedly fell to 2.5% in August, the lowest annual rate for over 3 years.
Yep.
So my guess would be the stocks are ripping right now. I don't know if you want to check.
They're actually down. Dow is down 1% today.
Wow. That's surprising because I feel like stocks have just followed inflation reports.
Hold on. Stocks. Dow is down 1.1% today. Bitcoin is up 0.15, so barely up. Tesla is down 2. Amazon is down 1. Apple is barely down. Google barely down. Meta down 0.8%. Zillow is down 2 2.33. Starbucks is up 2. That's the only green I see on my screen. Pretty much all red.
Speaking of Zillow,
but barely.
Yeah. Speaking of Zillow, they just announced their AI-powered home search feature they're coming out with. Did you see that?
I did. I mean, it's pretty fuzzy. It's the way they announce everything.
It's basically just saying, like, people are going to be able to talk and describe the home they want. And they want a fence 30 minutes away from here with a basement, partially finished, and run a search for you.
I mean that's we saw at the Resource Live event, that kind of application in effect. I mean, it's just a method of input. It's capturing information with voice versus. I mean, they're converting voice to.
Is that even AI?
To zeros and ones. I don't know. I mean, it is, but it's like essentially using Alexa to search for real estate. Like, I mean, you can already do that in essentially every other app.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, it's just them jumping on the AI bandwagon. And now that doesn't, I imagine what they already do is use algorithms to display certain properties for you based on your preferences after you've input them. So, I mean, they're using AI already. They're just trying to get the PR for it now.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we've been going about 43 minutes now. I have a couple just stories for you.
Okay.
First story I have, it happened yesterday. So my wife and I and son were going to our friends for dinner, and we stop at a liquor store. I'm not going to say what liquor store. I'm not going to dox them just yet. But we picked up a bottle of wine.
Just kidding.
And what did you say?
I said Cocksmokers Outlet.
Oh, gosh.
Evergreen Liquors. No, that's actually the same company.
Well,
anyway, go ahead.
So
it was just the first one that came to mind.
Yeah, go to pick up a bottle of wine to take over there, and we're leaving, and there's a guy by his car laying on the ground. So I don't know why this happens to my wife and I a lot, but like we run into situations a lot where like people like something's wrong with them or we need to check on people. We're the people that usually always do check on people. So, and my wife's a nurse, so she walks over there to make sure. We didn't know if he's having a stroke or something's going on.
Right.
He immediately starts catcalling her and all this, and I'm there. I'm like, hold on, man. And he is trying to crawl in the driver's seat. Like, you know Jordan Belfort, that scene of him climbing in his car?
The what?
Jordan Belfort, like when he's on all the drugs and trying to climb up to drive. That's this
Wolf
guy.
of Wall Street.
Guy's just hammered off his ass. And, I mean, he is pulling himself into his car, gets in,
Lord.
drinking a bottle of liquor in his car. And so my wife starts calling 911. I'm trying not to get the guy to leave. I run in and tell the liquor store, and they're just kind of like looking concerned. And a guy walks out. The liquor store is like, hey, like, if he gets in trouble, it comes back on us. We didn't know he was drunk. He couldn't tell, and we sold to him. I'm like, dude, I don't care. This guy's about to go kill somebody.
Yeah.
Like, this is complete wrong response. So guys cussing me out in the car, the drunk guy yelling at me, pulls off super fast, and didn't really get what the car was. It was an old beat-up car, and didn't get the license plate because I didn't know if the guy was going to try to run me over or anything.
Yeah.
You know,
well, you just went out of
if
the
my son wasn't with me, and you don't know who has guns or what.
You just went out of the situation.
So
at this
he
point.
pulls off super fast, and he's going the way we're going. So we get in our car and kind of try to catch up and follow behind him, still talking to the police, and lose them in traffic. You know, right there, Westport Road, getting off on the ramp. We're right there at that stoplight, and where you're just stuck at 5 o'clock during the day. And kind of lose them when we start pulling up, and there's cars going around the car. He's asleep in his car on Westport Road. Stopped. Completely stopped. People honking at him, not waking up. Call the cops again. Didn't really know what happened. Well, I was talking to Weston Faulkner in our office about it, and Weston saw the guy get arrested.
Wow.
So at least we know nobody got hurt.
He didn't hurt anybody.
Nobody got hurt. Guy got hurt. Weston was like, well, there was nobody in the car, so he might have dipped. And I was like, there is no way this guy's dipping anywhere. He couldn't walk.
Yeah, he couldn't even walk. He was pulling himself up off the ground into his vehicle.
And it's just scary. There's people out there like that.
God, it is, man.
You know, there was that sad story with the hockey players a week or two ago. And literally to like a year ago to this date last year, I was leaving my house in Crescent Hills, 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, going to the grocery store. And I watch a van get rammed into by a car. And I stop, call the cops. The guy's head's gushing blood everywhere. She's got a big old knot on her head. So I wait for the cops to get there, and I go to the grocery, come back. She's still there, and ask if everything's okay. And she said, "Yeah, they arrested him. He was drunk."
I'm constantly taken aback by the things that I see out in the public, and it's just really unfortunate, man. I mean, you're right though. Like confrontation, it's not worth it.
No.
You know, it's not worth it.
Even though everything in my body is telling me to
yeah, I know,
do what I'm not supposed to do.
I know, but you got to remember, right, that it just takes that one scenario, that one person that, you know, has poor judgment or impaired judgment that is armed that could just change your life forever. Yeah. So, you know, your pride in the moment, I mean, whether he said something inappropriate to your wife.
Well, and that wasn't my main concern was he's going to go kill somebody.
Of course. I mean, but like any of those situations are bad, and just staying out of them, you know, and again, these individuals can provoke you at times, and you just got to walk away. It's just not the world that I, you know, grew up in anymore. My children have to live in this world, and it's different. And so I try to educate them as well, because kids are pretty naive, you know, to a lot of this stuff. It's just unfortunate, man.
So we can move on, but I had my 10-year high school reunion this last weekend. It was good.
Okay. I didn't make it to mine.
I was one of the sponsors, so that
Very
was
cool.
Very cool. And then I saw Zach Pitts and Kyle Pinkham there. Yeah. So the 10, 20, and 30-year high school reunions for E-Town High School were all at the same place in E-Town. Yeah. And one of the reunions got a DJ, and this place was just packed. And there was a guy, I guess it was his 20th year reunion. Zach knew him. I guess Zach drove him to the place. You'll have to ask Zach about this. He got in his underwear and ran around the place,
Oh,
streaked.
wow.
And I guess he did it at his senior spaghetti supper. So he's like, I'm going to do it now.
Oh, that is
Zach said he went
interesting.
up to him and was like, what are you doing, dude?
I have not heard this
You'll
story.
probably know the guy.
I
I can't remember the guy's name that Zach said, but
I was away at college when Zach graduated, so I probably didn't hear the story, but yeah, you're right. If it was his classmate, there's a good chance I know the person.
Yeah, so just running around there in his underwear. My wife's like, what is happening
What is
right
going
now?
on?
Yeah, so
I love taking my wife back to E-Town stuff and she having her like inserting her into like the world that is E-Town, and it's just weird.
oh yeah.
It's just weird. Those are funny. Like I remember the day when we first started dating, I took her back to E-Town to watch one of Zach's baseball games. So we were in college. He was in, and it was like the looks we got just walking in. Because, I played baseball at E-Town. Everybody knew me. Was playing in college at the time. And, there's Jay with his new girlfriend. It was so odd.
Yep.
My uncle was the head coach at the time, at E-Town. So it was funny. It was those days were interesting. And even still, like, we get together with my friends and it's like, Jen's like, can we please not talk about E-Town the entire time? So,
Yeah, I had a freak out moment last night about our golf trip.
okay.
My mom told me she booked a family trip for the Keys in January, and I was like, oh, nice. And then I'm laying in bed, I'm like,
Oh, is it the same
this
week?
better not be the same week because I'm going on the golf trip. I'm like, how am I going to work this out? But it's different dates, I found out. So
Okay, good.
thank goodness.
Just spent 2 weeks in Florida.
Yeah.
Is that all the time we got?
Yeah, man.
I think that's it. Little chit chat today. We were real estate heavy on the front end. But yeah, lots of good stuff happening. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you get some value out of these episodes. You can find them anywhere you podcast. If you're seeing this clip online somewhere, check us out on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. Pretty much anywhere though. You can probably find us. I think we're on Amazon. We're everywhere that podcasts can be found. You can find us on the socials at JPitts Realtor, at ryanharris.re. We do appreciate your support there as well. But again, that's all we got for today. We'll see you next time for the J Pitts Show. I'm your host, Jay Pitts, and Ryan Harris. We'll see you soon.
Peace.